This is Tiger Cats postgame on the Ticats Audio Network.
Well, the end of a season never feels good. And this one comes to an abrupt end at the East. Semi-final in the city of Montreal, the Alouettes, the better team on this day, defeating the Tiger Cats 27-12. This is Tiger Cats postgame. I'm Bubba O'Neill along with Andy Fantuz. The guys from the broadcast booth, RJ Broadhead and Luke Tasker, will join us for a roundtable discussion. We will go down to the locker room to talk to Coach Joe. We'll reveal our performer of the game, review the car star, keys to victory. But Andy, this was an interesting game where we left at halftime with a lot of hope, but it just seemed like it was a grind, and Montreal were grinding out this game against Hamilton, and the ability not to get in the end zone again haunts this Hamilton football team.
Yeah, that's exactly it. They couldn't finish drives in the end zone. It just felt like one of those games where everything had to be perfect. Any little mistake that normally in a game would just kind of get lost in the wash seems so magnified in today's game. And you said it, the better team won. The Montreal defense really took over this game and won this game. Hamilton's defense played well as well, but Montreal's defense, to go 4 games without allowing a team like the Hamilton Ticats to get a passing touchdown in one season is remarkable. And to do it, to have the 4th game in the playoffs is just outstanding. And the turnovers were the biggest single difference in the game, the 3 turnovers to the 1 turnover, because both defenses played well. Both offenses were struggling to find rhythm. But you got to give credit to just the game plan and execution of Montreal.
You know, about 3.5 hours ago on our pregame show, the play-by-play man, Sean Campbell from 690 TSN Montreal, he issued the game plan for the Alouettes. You might want to remind our listeners what it was, because it kind of worked out.
Yeah, he was bang on. He said if Montreal scores 2 offensive touchdowns, they win the game. They had 2 offensive touchdowns. They won the game. And he also mentioned Sean Lemon as a potential X factor. He came up with 2 massive sacks in the game, one to kind of seal it. So Sean, you got to give him credit. It was well calculated points there and came through.
Speaking of points, let's review our car star keys to victory as we bring in Luke and RJ from the booth. Let it roll.
Well, number 1 was special teams matchup, and there wasn't any standout plays from either side, but I thought Montreal did have the advantage in this category. They had almost twice as many punt return yard average. And then when you factor in the punt that Montreal kicked across field for a 52-yard net that went out of bounds, that doesn't count on the stat sheet as a 0 punt return average. That's a big difference there. So I thought that they won the scheme battle and the execution battle on special teams.
Number 2.
Number 2 was discipline, and that one really was a wash. I thought both teams played fairly clean until the very, very last minute of the game when the game was over. There were 0 penalties up to that point by either team. So, great job by Hamilton playing disciplined football.
And number 3, really a massive factor.
Yeah, the turnovers. It's the turnovers. Like Sean, our friend from Montreal said, he said if Montreal could score a couple touchdowns, he doesn't think Hamilton can, and he was right, and that's why those turnovers, even though they don't necessarily lead to points, are so critical. The first turnover led to a single, yeah, I know, and the second one did end up in a touchdown, but regardless of that, it stifles any momentum you have offensively, and when you're in a game where you're struggling to get momentum and to have any little bit snuffed out is crucial. So they lost the turnover battle 3-1, and that's a big factor in why they lost this game.
You know, let's bring in Luke on this, and I talked to Andy about this at halftime. I remember you guys when you had Ken Austin as your head coach, and I talked about penalties and errors and turnovers. And one thing he used to always say to me was repeated patterns of behavior. Now, and I really feel bad about this, but the Keandre Smith fumble is something we've seen before.
Yeah, seen before in this exact same game a year ago, unfortunately, and that was the first of a couple of crucial mistakes in this game. That at that time, the Ticat offense was looking very efficient. They were actually moving the ball down the field very well, and it kind of looked like Matt Schultz was going to be able to orchestrate a game that was higher scoring. And RJ, I know I don't want to steal this stat from you because I know it's right on the tip of your tongue, but that's 3 touchdowns total on the season in 4 games with Montreal, and 0 of them were tonight, obviously. 4 field goals for 12 points. So just you can't really win many games that way. Very, very hard to do that. It's just so tiring to talk about it, but it's the turnovers that sort of stand out in my mind.
But it's Keandre looking for an effort play.
Yeah, it's classic. That's like I remember Andy and I can both remember plays ourselves where we fumbled because you break one tackle and then you think, oh, if I can just get the first down, you steal the first down away from the defense, and it's a second effort where you sort of, for some reason in that moment, sort of forget the importance of the ball security or forget your emphasis on ball security. It's a classic thing to see, but there's so much of the turnover battle is a process of sound decision making. You actually in the moment have to decide to once again protect the football, and you see Keandre Smith do it later in the game, with an obvious, almost visual emphasis on protecting the ball, but it has to be done right from the first snap.
Yeah, it's a mechanical thing, right? Like you can't tell the kid to stop fighting for extra yards. He plays with fire. He plays with a lot of heart. I love his game, to be honest, and it is unfortunate and a problem that he's fumbling. So I don't think you can tell him to stop fighting for extra yards. Of course, you stop it at the expense of ball security, but it's a mechanical thing. There's got to be a way he can hold the ball better and coach that up so he can make a small change in his fundamentals so that this doesn't continue to happen.
RJ, as we continue on the turnover topic, because it really is the factor in the game, none of these turnovers, now, like I'm going to say the Bo Levi interception, going to Tim White, I mean, you're trying to make something happen. None of these turnovers were egregious, horrible, like what were you thinking kind of turnovers. Another one bounces off a hand. Like, it's really unfortunate.
Yeah, bad luck. It happens. But you have to create that yourself too, and you have to do high percentage plays. Montreal's a really good defense.
They are.
They scored a lot on defense. They created a lot of turnovers, especially against the Tiger Cats. But Luke mentioned that stat. Like, Tiger Cats didn't have a passing touchdown against Montreal this season. Their 3 touchdowns were short runs from James Butler, Sean Thomas Erlington, and a 122-yard field goal miss return in the last game by Tyreek McAllister. So that's an unusual one. They were almost limited to 2 touchdowns against Montreal this season.
And on
that's the big key. Montreal's defense was too good. Hamilton's offense could not be successful against them.
You're right, and that their defense, specific to the turnovers and their defensive plays, a lot like that interception thrown off the tip pass. That's a defense. That's not just totally fluke, right? That's a defensive effort. That's good. They're taught to get their hands in the air, and they were able to do that a couple times.
Yeah, they tipped a ton of Matt Schultz passes in the game, so they did their homework. They were ready for it.
Yeah, you couple that with a bad break of a early whistle on the Richard Leonard interception.
Agreed.
That's a big blown call, because that's going to be automatically reviewed anyways. The league, the officials are taught to let that go because it's automatically reviewed. It's like a scoring play or a fumble. He was up and running.
Yeah.
There was no way he was touched, and so that. But I mean, if you're sitting here and complaining about one referee call in a game that you can't score a touchdown, you probably have other problems anyways.
Here's a concern to me, and I don't know how this happens. And yes, you got to give the Montreal Alouettes defense a heck of a lot of credit. The most outstanding player this year for the Hamilton Tiger Cats was Tim White. 3 or 4 targets,
3 targets, 0 catches.
0 catches.
Unbelievable.
That's unbelievable. Like, okay, and I will say this, okay? We talk about defensive. I mean, Noel Thorpe is one of the best in the league. We talk about great defenses, and I'll just use this all for all football. Jerry Rice, Terrell Owens, they never had 0 catch games. Is there not ways to get your best offensive player ways to get the ball? Because it almost seems inexcusable that a guy like Tim White had no factor in this ball game, guys.
Yeah, you saw this is the best defense in the league of taking away the deep ball, and I think I love Tim White on the deep ball. So it's a matchup that's sort of, in a sense favors Montreal, and that's just what they're best at is stopping what Tim White is good at. But I agree with you. You almost force the issue to get him some receptions. And unfortunately, that didn't happen until late in the game when they indeed had to just pull out all the stops and throw some long balls.
Our performer of the game, presented by Hercules Tire. Right on our strength is Hamilton Tiger Cats running back James Butler. 13 carries, 83 yards, 2 receptions for 8 yards. Let's get down to the locker room and connect with James Butler. This exclusive post-game interview is presented by Access Storage. Score a touchdown with affordable storage. Access Storage has flexible storage solutions at a store near you. Try 4 weeks free. Details at accessstorage.ca. To the locker room we go. Number 9, James Butler. A heck of an effort out there. I know the obvious is that you don't feel great about this one. Can you talk about what happened when you guys all got together in the locker room?
Yeah, it was a sad moment, you know what I'm saying? Obviously, playoffs is a one-game, elimination, so it was tough down in the locker room. The team will never be the same.
James, you were able to get some momentum early in the game and then again in the third quarter, running the ball and kind of powering your way on a mission downfield, but stifled by turnovers. How deflating is that when you seem to finally get something rolling and then get in a turnover situation?
Yeah, we just got to turn over the ball. We got to take care of the ball. You know what I'm saying? With a team like that, a good defense like that, we just got to turn over the ball and stay on the field and finish drives in the end zone.
James, it's RJ. Really enjoyed chatting with you all season long. Montreal's defense, should they get a lot of credit for this performance in holding you guys to just 12 points?
Yeah, I mean, we got to be better. We got to be better taking care of the ball. We got to finish drives in the end zone. We know that, but yeah, all credit goes to them for their efforts.
Yeah, I remember a lot of ends of the seasons, James, and every year is different. Is this one of those years that feels like if you could just have one more crack at Montreal, you think you'd be able to finally kind of get it right against them?
Yeah, 100%. You know what I'm saying? If we just play the game, we know how we're supposed to, and just go out there and execute how we know we're supposed to. We know that we can play with anybody.
James Butler, thank you. I know it's a tough time and certainly not the 10 minutes after a tough loss in the playoff game. We really appreciate you giving us time, not just in this situation, but all season long. You had a wonderful year, and we'll look forward to your second season in Hamilton. Thank you so much, James.
Thank you.
That's real tough, guys. I mean, and I guess maybe let's give our viewers, our listeners a little perspective. Andy, winning is great. And I don't know, I think because it's football and hockey and basketball and baseball, there are multiple games and it's best 2 out of 3. The sudden death of football is just, on one side can be so glorious and the other side just so tough.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. You have, depending on what league you're talking about, you have so many teams and only one team isn't going to have this feeling by the time the season's over. So it's a tough time. You have a goal with dozens and dozens, if not hundreds of people collectively at the start of the year. Teammates, coaches, staff, football ops, you got front office, fans, you have media personalities. You all have the same goal, and you're working towards it as a family, as a group all season, and then just to come to a sudden end. It's hard to describe the emotion, and there's really not any words that can be said to make it acceptable. It's just a blank emptiness feeling.
get down to the locker room and connect with Coach O, presented by Access Storage. Score a touchdown with affordable storage. Access Storage has flexible storage solutions at a store near you. Try 4 weeks free. Details at accessstorage.ca. Well, Coach Orlando Steiner are certainly not the result that you were looking for after the weeks and months of preparation. As we talked about here, and Andy was talking about, the conclusion of a season in football is just so difficult. What'd you tell the guys at the end of this one?
Just how much I appreciate them. I love them as people. Applauded their resiliency. We take the field every year to win championships, win Grey Cups, not get eliminated. But, at the end of the day, there's only one champion, and we didn't play well enough to advance in the playoffs. So it was really that clean. There's no words to say when your season ends, when that's the last time a group of people will be together organizationally or as players. And, sure, we can pound it in the ground. I get it. Absolutely. Not good enough. Not where we need to be or where we want to go. But that doesn't diminish anything from the way they committed to preparation and overcame adversity all year.
Coach, before watching the film, just after your live experience of the game, how would you summarize it in a sentence or two?
Probably couldn't do it. Just not good enough. Not good enough. I was very proud of how physical we were. Early on, I thought we were, the game was kind of going how we anticipated, back and forth. We had the unfortunate tip pass there right before the half, and obviously they punched it in. Other than that, it's basically a high baseball score game, and but it was still a one-score game. So that was what it was. Hard to sum it up in one sentence or a few words.
Hey, it's RJ. Your most outstanding player, Tim White, didn't have a reception in the game. What happened there?
Yeah, it just sometimes it doesn't work out that way. It definitely wasn't the plan. That's what I have to say. You call the game to the best you can to win it, and with what they're having, what they're putting out there, and it's just one of those games where it didn't work out that way.
Coach, you probably you take some weeks from here. Obviously, the playoffs will continue. The season will end for the whole league, and then you start to turn the page over. But right now, finishing your season today, is there something in your mind already that this Ticat team needs to get ready to go make a Grey Cup run in 2024?
No, that's a tough question. It's a fair question, but I don't. If I had to answer that quick, I should have already used it, put the finger on it, and fixed it, right? So I don't think it's a quick answer. It's probably a collective of things, but I don't have anything to get us the 2024 Grey Cup championship at this time. I just know that whatever it is, collectively, obviously not good enough.
Coach, the move to Bo late in the fourth there, was that just was that injury related, or was that a spark, or what was that move there?
Yeah, we know Bo's going to throw the ball down the field. We knew what we were going to call in those situations, and that's all it was.
Your thoughts?
Matt didn't do anything wrong. He didn't. I thought he did a great job of controlling the game. We just had to try to find a way to put the ball in the end zone.
Well, Coach, again, the end of a season, again, is so difficult. I know this certainly stings, and it stings for your football club. Safe trip back to Hamilton. I know there's lots of work to do. We here at the Ticats Audio Network always appreciate your time. You talk to us all the time after the wins, after the losses. Your fans did stick with you. So we appreciate your efforts as the president of football operations and the head coach of this club.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you to all you. Thank you for all the fans that supported us. Still the best fans in the league. I know it was a disappointing ending, but hopefully you're proud of just the effort that these guys put through. But I want to thank you guys for an awesome season. Do a great job, and I'll look forward to many more.
Thanks again, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
Head Coach Orlando Steiner and I were on the broadcast here, and certainly not feeling great about the end result of this one. And, you know, it's funny because there wasn't enough controversy in this one or crazy things to really kind of break down. It was pretty cut and dry, guys. So I think with this opportunity, what time left we have in our season here, I'll start with you, Andy. Kind of your question there, Luke. What has to happen for this team to be better than the last 2 years we've seen?
Well, I think the biggest area, if you're looking at the position-wise, it's obvious to say quarterback this year was too much of a carousel and not a lot of consistency to allow growth in that area. But for me, being a receiver, I got to get more out of the receiving group to go into a game like this and not be able to get your MOP reception, to not be able to push the ball downfield, to not score a passing touchdown in 4 games is just not good enough in pro football. So I think that that position group is the biggest single position area that I would look for personnel improvement.
100%, Andy, and I know it's funny because you and I are both receivers, but it just is true. There's just not enough production there, not enough consistency, and it is hand in hand with the quarterbacks. That's also something that has to get figured out. Just offensive production in general. I think this Hamilton defense, even right now, is a good enough defense to win, to be champions. But without offensive production to counterbalance, even a good defense is going to get grinded down. It was so blatant to me tonight how many checkdowns went for first downs, checkdowns for explosives. Cody Fajardo able to move the chains on his feet, and if you give an offense enough time, they'll figure it out even against a good defense. And so that's the answer right there. I will say that the way that the Montreal Alouettes punt the football and foot the field is something to be envious about. I would love to see a Ticat have a Ticat team with a net punt like Montreal is able to have and sustain throughout a season. And you could probably go on and find a few more areas, as they certainly will this offseason. But in general, you just didn't have the ingredients there. It was for the Ticats to have won that game tonight against the Alouettes, it would have almost, as we got into that fourth quarter, you kind of felt they were going to have to win with some sort of fluke. There was going to have to be some sort of, break open game, a ridiculous defensive touchdown or a special teams touchdown. It just wasn't going to happen in a normal way, the way that the game was going.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. Duke Williams finishes the Tiger Cats' 5th leading receiver, and he's missed half a season. So the depth at receiver has to definitely get better. If you had healthy quarterbacks, if Bo Levi Mitchell was healthy all season, who knows? Him and Matt Schultz came back late in the season and struggled to get chemistry. We saw that. The other thing, and I'm basing it on what Tiger Cats players, coaches told me throughout the year, was there were so many changes. It takes time to gel, so you have to be cautious with how many new faces you bring in. It was a theme, especially early on in the season, that, hey, we need time to come together. And it looked like it was happening toward the end of the season, and it just didn't come to fruition. But going 0-8 against Montreal and Toronto those are the teams you got to beat.
Crazy.
That's the season for the Tiger Cats right there.
Marjorie, you just brought up a name that I actually forgot about. Like, I mean, a reality of what happened this year. Seth Small. Do you remember Seth Small? Like,
yeah, right.
the kickers. What happened?
Bailey Flynn.
Yeah.
So the kickers and punters that the Tiger Cats started with, they had to get new ones. And actually, Corey Vedvik and Mark Leggio were amazing. Leggio finishes on a streak of 15 straight, and Vedvik, he really helped the Tiger Cats in punting in this game. Field position could have been a lot worse. He was excellent. So they did recover from that, but it's... a
lot of good pieces, though. A lot of good pieces on this team. I think, like you said, the defense is good enough to be a championship team. They really started to find their groove on the defensive line rotation at the end of the season. Linebacking crew was consistent.
Love Jameer Thurman. What a great ad.
Jameer Thurman was a great ad, and Simone, and then
Casey Sales.
Casey Sales for sure. And then even the secondary was really starting to come together by the end of the year. and and that includes some injuries there. The run game, I think the offensive line and James Butler, the running game, to be successful when you don't have that passing threat makes it that much more impressive. If you had a passing threat like Toronto or Winnipeg has, I think those running stats would be even higher. So I think those pieces are good enough to be a championship team. And just to kind of piggyback what Coach O said to the fans, I mean, we're all going to mourn this loss here. But let's still remember we got the Grey Cup here in a week and a half. The festivities will start, and we got to come out and be proud of who we are here in Hamilton, and really show the nation and show the world how awesome Hamilton and how awesome Tigertown is, and put on an awesome and great show. So let's mourn this loss, but let's not forget about the bigger picture and come together for the CFL Grey Cup Festival.
Well, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yes.
Like so many great events and entertainment. So it's tough right now, but come a couple of weeks from now, it'll be a lot of fun in Hamilton.
Well, as I say, wear your colors, right? I mean, wear that black and gold, wear it proud, and you're right. This is what the organizing committee have done to set the stage for what they couldn't pull off in 2019. We're already starting to see reshaping of Tim Hortons Field and what a difference it's going to look like. And, of course, the downtown, it's all getting decorated. It's certainly going to be a lot of fun, guys. And certainly this has been an amazing run for me. Guys, working with you guys is a highlight. I look forward to it more than my own job, right? I love game days. Why was I nervous today going into today's game? I got nothing to do with it, right? It's amazing how you feel that way.
Uncontrollable factor.
Yes.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure, boys.
Yep.
For our teammates here at the Ticats Audio Network, David Cadeau, our big leader. Braden Neville, we talked to him earlier in this broadcast. Louis Butko, Jeff Jarrett, Stats Guy, Coach Sal, John Salavanis, old school, always with us. David Butko putting together so much on the production side. Michael Steyer, again, production side and making us always sound so good. Mike Daly, who looks like he's going to, maybe he's got a shot at the Yates Cup. He's joined us as well, too. Courtney Stephen, involved in the community. Peter McEwen coming in, joining us and producing us always so well. We love Pete. And again, my broadcast partners, RJ, Luke in the booth, Andy, my man on the side in the slot, the Heck Crichton and Grey Cup winner. Always so proud to work with him. I'm Bubba O'Neill. Always a pleasure, folks, to talk to you in Tigertown. And as we talked about, in 2 weeks, yes, football still will be played in this city at Tim Hortons Field. It is the 110th Grey Cup. And folks, keep listening to the Ticats Audio Network for up-to-the-minute daily information on this great Built in the Hammer event. It's been a pleasure. The final score, Hamilton Tiger Cats defeated. Their season is over. Alouettes are moving on to the East Final in Toronto at BMO Field to face the Argonauts. 27-12 is the final. It's been a wonderful season. Thank you so much for trusting us here at the Ticats Audio Network.